Setting up the screed head. Prior to using the machine, be sure to perform any adjustments in the order that they are listed in the operator's manual. Always check and adjust the slope meter and self-leveling system before checking or adjusting the screed head. Always recheck and adjust the screed head if making any adjustments to the slope meter or self-leveling system. When the screed head is set up properly, the plow removes excess concrete to within a ½ inch of the finished grade. The auger strikes off the remaining concrete to the finished grade, and the vibrating screed plate consolidates the concrete. Note that even though the screed plate or vibrator contact surface extends below the auger, it does not appreciably affect the final desired grade level established by the auger. Start the machine and let it warm up. Ideal operating hydraulic oil temperature is 100 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 to 66 degrees Celsius for best performance. Failure to warm up the oil in cold weather can lead to damaging the hydraulic pump and screed head. There are 13 steps to manually warm up the hydraulic oil to operating temperature in cold weather. Consult your operator's manual for these procedures. Place the machine into screeding position by lowering the stabilizers and, from the driver's position, rotating the upper frame counterclockwise 90 degrees. Now extend the boom to approximately half of its full stroke. Put a level on the lower track of the small boom. Extend or retract the stabilizers until the level indicates that the boom is level. Now loosen bolts on the slope meter. Adjust to 0% slope and tighten the bolts. Using the SLS rocker switch on the control panel, adjust the SLS until the yoke hole and auger support beam hole align, and you can insert a ½ inch by 3 inch long bolt. Check that the holes line up on both sides of the head. Remember to remove the bolts immediately to prevent screed head damage as SLS movement occurs. Note that if the SLS function fails during a job, the head can be locked into position by placing bolts with washers and nuts in these holes on each side of the screed head. Now go into the grade control tuning screen as previously shown and zero out the SLS by navigating to the SLS null icon and pressing OK. Note that any time you change out angle sensors, adjust the height of the auger, or have problems matching grade when pulling through a column block situation, you should zero or null the cross slope of the screed head. To do this, place a 4-foot level up against the vibrator plate and raise or lower the elevation cylinders until the head is level. Go into the tuning menu as previously described and zero out the cross slope by navigating to the cross slope null icon and pressing OK. Next, we'll make sure the screed head is set up properly by measuring the height difference between the vibrator plate, the bottom of the auger, and the bottom of the plow. These dimensions need to be checked every time the laser screed is transported by trailer. First, we'll place the level up against the trailing edge of the vibrator plate and hold it level. The height difference between the trailing edge and the front of the vibrator plate should be a ½ inch or the thickness of 2 Somero 1/4 inch auger shims. If necessary, loosen the 4 mounting studs that hold the vibrator assembly to the screed head and rotate the vibrator assembly, keeping the lower bolt all the way into the slot until the proper pitch of the vibrator is found. This adjustment should be made at both ends of the vibrator. Next, we'll check the auger height. Place the level on the trailing edge of the vibrator. The height difference at the auger should be a 1/4 inch or the thickness of 1 auger shim. Do this for both sides. If needed, adjust the auger height by loosening the bolts in the slotted holes and turning the auger height adjustment bolt clockwise to raise the auger or counterclockwise to lower the auger. Don't forget to tighten all bolts when the adjustment is complete. Since the auger tends to wear faster on the right end where concrete discharges, it should be removed, rotated end for end, and reinstalled every second time the auger height requires adjustment, or whenever the flighting height on the right side of the auger is an 1/8 inch less than the left side. When the flighting height wears to less than 1 1/8 inch, the auger should be replaced. Inspect the auger for damaged flighting or concrete deposits. Clean, repair, or replace as necessary. Run a string or line the length of the auger to check for straightness. Rotate the auger and check every quarter of a turn that there is no more than a 1/16 inch gap between all flights and the string. If the auger is bent, it must be replaced. Next, we'll check the plow height. Place the level on the trailing edge of the vibrator. The height difference at the plow should be 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch, depending on the size of the aggregate in the concrete. Measure and adjust both sides. If needed, adjust the plow height by loosening the plow height jam nuts and adjustment bolts located on each end of the screed head and pivoting the plow to the desired position. A small jack can be placed in the center of the plow to help position it. Adjust the left end of the plow so the plow height is identical to that on the right side. If you do not, the heads of the bolt on one side might not make firm contact against the stop plates on the auger's support beam and the plow will work erratically. Note, if having adjustment issues, set the right side first and then use the left side bolts on the plow to adjust as needed. Tighten the 2 plow stop adjustment bolt lock nuts. Note, the plow is designed so it can be pivoted upward and pinned in this position with an appropriate diameter pin or tool. This eases the task of cleaning the auger and screed head. You should also note that the plow has an extension on the right side that can be folded down to widen the plow area if desired during screeding.